And a successful run at Adria a couple of weeks ago means that they're pretty pleased with the way things are going. Not so in the Leopard garage. Work still going on Jean Calvinet's car. But the Subaru, good to see it back. That's the original car. The car that first appeared after a last-minute drama in Singapore back in 2015. And Luigi Ferrara having been at the wheel before, of course. Slowest of all the 22 cars that took part in Free Practice 1. What can he do in FP2? So 20 cars out on track. We're still waiting for Jean Calvinet to leave his garage, as you saw a moment or two ago. And as I was saying earlier, no Duncan Indy and no Ferenc Fizer because of that incident in FP1. So first lap times starting to come in, and not at all representative, as you can imagine. First lap times in the 130s, the 137s, 140s. That will drop as the session goes on. Now, I was saying earlier that rain was forecast. We haven't had any. Temperatures are climbing. Temperatures now pushing around 20 degrees or thereabouts, as Thomas Jaeger sets the first decent time of this session at 1:28.9. That compares with a 1:32.774 of the next placed car. That's the Audi of Enrico Bettera. Attila Tashi, 1:38.68. But again, far too early in the session to be looking at these things. Colciago, quickest of all in sectors 1 and 2. There he is in the Mira Racing Honda. Colciago, the first man to score a double win in the TCR International Series this year. Colciago, hugely experienced, has retired from the sport once, has been lured out of retirement, won TCR Italy last year and did one event in TCR International, which he won. Back for a full season this year. He was victorious in race 1 in Bahrain and then race 1 at his home event in Monza. And within a matter of a few hours, Stefano Camini became the second double winner of the season. Camini winning in Spa and then race 2 in Monza. There is Dan Lloyd, I talked about in the first session. Lloyd from the British Touring Car Championship. Lots of experience. And I suspect still rather stunned to be here. Still only 25. Starting off in karting, did Ginetta Juniors, the Renault Clio Cup, Porsches, Blancpain GT, and then, importantly, as things turned out, joining up with Craft Bamboo to do the GT Asia Series in 2015, 2016, in a Honda in BTCC, and then an MG for the first part of this season, and then deciding last week that he'd had enough, and within a matter of days, if not hours, having the phone call from Lukoil Craft Bamboo to say, would you take over from Ugo Valente? And that's why Dan is here in Salzburg and will be with us for the remainder of the season. You saw Frederick Verviche there, just getting it slightly twitchy coming through the chicane. That's the place where Stefano Camini got it wrong in FP1. There he is, sliding, getting it sideways, catching it, and so not repeating Camini's excursion through the gravel. But that little sequence coming into the chicane, still very twitchy, very slippery. As we start to see the lap times tumbling, Pepe Oriola, the first man to break 1:27 with a 1:26.949. So Oriola quickest so far, there he is. Dan Lloyd, second, a 1:27.012, so 0.06 of a second splitting the two teammates. Thomas Jaeger in the Opel is third, Rob Huff fourth. So at the moment it's Seat, Opel, Volkswagen, Honda for Colciago fifth, Opel for Matteo Homola sixth, and then Tashi in that brand new car is seventh as Homola goes quickest. Mato Homola, a 1:26.918, so 0.03 of a second quicker than Oriola. I went to speak to Borkovic after free practice 1 and said, okay, thoughts after that session? And he said, well, to be honest, I'm a bit surprised. We weren't really going for the time, and we knew that everyone was getting quicker because compared to yesterday, the temperatures were cooler this morning, the track was more grippy, and so he was very, very pleased. His aim this afternoon, he was saying, is to get into Q2, and then really doesn't mind where he qualifies. Oriola goes quickest once again, with Nash now second quickest. Dan Lloyd now drops to 4th, so all 3 of the Lukoil Craft Bamboo cars in the top 4. But as I was saying, Borkovic saying he doesn't really care where he qualifies because he knows the way to get to the front. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we know what that means. Jens Reno Moller in car number 11. Moller doing the TCR Europe event, and so using this event as the previous rounds in Spa and Monza. Also Stian Paulsen doing the same thing, using the European leg of the International Series to qualify for the European shootout. Oh, getting it wrong, just losing the back end of the car there again. Same position, going into the chicane. Here it is again. Back just steps out, he catches it, does well to catch it, and then through, avoiding the gravel. Colciago goes up to P3. You see there on your timing screens the 2 gold lozenges and the green. So 2 best sectors of all, and one of his, the 3rd sector, his best time. There is Colciago. And the Mira Racing boss, Norbert Michelic, is here this weekend, giving lots of encouragement, particularly to Tashi after his accident yesterday. But that amazing overnight dash from Italy with the brand new car. The car arrived here at just after 4 this morning. The team frantically then worked to get Tashi's settings on the car and also to set up the stickers and the logos as Kajaya now goes quickest. Now that may have just cost him a little time as he caught Borkovic going into the chicane. Let's have a look at the time as Kajaya goes up to the line, crosses it, now goes up to P6. So even though he got his best sector 3 time, his good work was undone. Homola, best in sector 2. Dan Lloyd, though, was best in sectors 1 and 2 before Oriola took over from him. Comini crosses the line now, up to P8 in the Audi. Comini a 1:27.16. So just looking down, the top 11 covered by under a second, top 12, excuse me. Colciago now 4th. There is Norbert Michelic in the background looking at Tashi's car. And 1, 2, 3 now, the Lukoil Craft Bamboo cars. Oriola, quickest so far, with a 1:26.384. So improving yet again on that last lap. Nash second, Lloyd third. Again, Lloyd improving. Colciago 4th, Homola 5th, Paulsen 6th, Kajaya 7th, excuse me. Paulsen's just improved. Mato Homola has popped up into P5. That's what caused the little reshuffle. Kajaya 7th, Thomas Jaeger 8th, and currently in the pits. Grégoire de Moustier in the Opel 9th. Comini, there he is, P10, 7/10 off Oriola's time. Kajaya, despite those decent times, those decent sector times, just slips to P7. Rob Huff currently outside the top 10 and in the pits. He's P11. Frederick Vervisch, Comini's teammate, is P12. And just as I say that, Moller replaces Vervisch in 12th with a lap time of 1:27.244. So Vervisch in 13th is the first man just over a second off Pepe Oriola's time as Comini sets the quickest time. 1:26.370, so 1/100ths of a second, in fact 14,000ths of a second. Camini ahead of Oriola. Could Camini become the first three-time winner this year? Now Venet, at least in the car, he's still the only driver not to have set any times in this session. Just under 17 minutes gone. Camini again on a flyer, gold lozenges in sectors 1 and 2. Comes round the long tightening Fahrerlager curve at the eastern end of the circuit, down then to the chicane, into the left-hander at turn 11, the right-hander now at 12, and the left-hander at 13, onto the start-finish straight. What can Camini do? A 26.37 currently. Not quite. A 1:26.41 was his last lap, but still lapping at around P1, P2 kind of time. So very consistent lapping from Stefano Camini. There's his teammate Frederick Vervisch in the pits, currently P13. And Tashi, P14 at the moment. Quickest, his best sector 1 and 2 times as he comes through the chicane. Across the line, he improves slightly, P13, a 1:27.4, so just over a second slower than Stefano Camini. But you've got to say, what a fairy tale that would be if Tashi could qualify P9 or P10. He'll start from the back of the grid, remember, in race 1, because it's seen as an engine change, starting with a new car. But if he can qualify P9, P10, he'll start on the front row for race 2 tomorrow. And wouldn't that be a stunning, stunning story if he could win? Borkovic heads up for the line. Gold in sector 1, green in sector 2. No, indeed, P10, he improves, but he's still 7/10ths slower than Camini. Now, will the two Alphas be running together? What did Moller do there? That was coming out of the chicane onto the start-finish straight. Maybe we've got a replay. Not the replay I was after, but very pretty nonetheless. Luigi Ferrara, 20th currently. And Vesnic is out on track. He missed FP1 as James Nash talks to his engineer Nick Clipson in the Lukoil Craft Bamboo garage. Out of the car, so will we see James again this session? So the 3 Lukoil Craft Bamboo cars then. Oriola, Nash and Lloyd, P2, P3, P4. What can Kajaya do? Improves to P8 with a 26.838. So Kajaya just under half a second down on Stefano Camini. And outbrakes himself into chicane at turn 1, takes to the escape road, has to thread his way carefully through that chicane. And that you just saw at the bottom of your screen was Homola's car. So Homola is parked up at turn 1. And there is Vernet on track. So all 21 of the cars we were expecting to take part in FP2 are out on track. Morbidelli, Tashi, Camini, Jaeger as they head down. And Camini just tucked in behind Tashi. Tashi at the moment, P14. Having improved slightly with that last lap at 1:27.299, so he's under a second now behind Camini.